Alright, this is Donald Wade, FTT214, Module 3, Assignment 2. Today's date is 15 November 2025. We're doing the borders and master lines for checkering. This is the piece that I'm using. I had one piece of my pinstriping tape. It came off. I did try to use the knife method, putting it right on the edge and then kind of rocking it back and forth. But I ended up using a very sharp scribe, and I would just drag it along in a little bit of motion right along that tape line. I would only move maybe maybe 1/8 of an inch at a time on each line. On the border. And I would do that on all the borders. Again, only going 1/8 of an inch at a time, keeping my scribe vertical. And as I'm doing this, I'm rolling the workpiece in the vise as I'm moving along. Like I said, I did try the knife just to kind of get an impression, and I mean it worked, but I figure I have the tape, so I can use that as a border. And I can scribe my lines. Same thing in the middle here. So what I've already got is I've got my first lines. These are going to be the inside lines, the inside stop lines. And then what I have is I'm going to take the tape and I'm going to remove the tape. I'm going to take a double row cutter on the tool that was provided, and I'm going to run this along with using the current line as a guide, and I'm going to do another line on the outside. Then I'm going to do it one more time and I'm going to move out. And that'll give me, using the line that I've got now that I've finished with the 90-degree cutting, the single row cutter, but it'll create 2 more lines. That'll be my border, and this is going to be the stopping line for the inside of the checkering pattern. I do have 2. They're probably not going to show up on camera, but I do have, and this is just an old tape measure, lines that what I did was I used the 18 LPI, and what I did was I went to the inside and I laid it flat and I made marks on the top side and in the middle, and then I went down and I did the same thing to where it will match up, and it should give me 4 large diamonds, and then obviously the diamond in the checkering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my single cutter on these lines that I've already scribed, and just kind of make them a little bit more defined. Not using heavy pressure, and I'm rolling as I'm going. Okay. Now what I can do is I can take this tape off. Okay, and I'm left with, I got the light up here, but I'm left with a diamond shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trade out this 90-degree single line cutter for the 18 LPI cutter. To put the inside edge, which is the edge closest to me, on the line that I've already done. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work it back and forth, and it's going to create a line on the outside. And then I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I'm going to go one more. And then I'll work on this other side. Again, all I'm trying to do is scratch the surface. Because I'm going to come back in later with a single line. And what we'll do with a single line is we'll connect them on the outside. And I do like this tool because I can change the angle of the cutter. And then I can also see what I'm working on with through the little arms. This will allow me to get really close into those corners. The trick is to make sure that pen stays in all the way through. That's what'll keep your cutter straight and not twisted and lopsided. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Take little movements to avoid the cutter jumping out of track. And making sure that it remains straight. And if I run into a part where it wants to kind of bind up, I don't try to muscle it through. I just kind of lighten up the pressure and let the tool work. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'll run one more on the outside, and that outside band will be my border. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll switch it back out, and I will run to the single line, and I'll do my my two master lines. They're going to cross here in the middle, and we'll go from there. Okay, now I can run the single line and deepen these and establish these lines, these master lines. The trick is to hold the tool vertical in the lines and keep the workpiece straight. I do know I need to work on keeping them straight. did go a little bit outside there. Lines aren't matching up, edges. I got a couple little jump outs here, but I've got the double line border, master lines. We'll continue this on for next week.